Off that open bar liquor, swagger dagger to the hearts of haters. I fast forward past poverty to floors.
Okay, what do I think about the current state of hip hop and where it's going? I mean, I think hip hop is fine. I think hip hop is fine. I think it'll be fine. I feel like all around the globe, people have hip hop cultures. You go to different places, everywhere that you go has a hip hop culture. They have a scene, whether it's burgeoning or been moving. It doesn't matter, you know. I feel like the problem, if there is a problem per se, is that when you only show one facet and all the venues and streams to give music to the public is only showing one facet of this multifaceted machine, this feeling, this movement, where there's all different kind of things. There's Soulja Boy, there's 2 Chainz, there's Kanye, and then there's Kweli, and you know, then you go other, you know, it's even regional. Like I leave New York and I go other places in the U.S. and there are people who I've never heard of who are amazing, and they have their own scene, and the people know their raps and they know their music and they know their videos and they support them, and I've never heard of them in my life, and I'm from where hip hop was made, you know what I mean? And they're from all different walks of life and all different races, and like that's around the world, you know. Like my friends got back from India and there was a hip hop scene there. They went and they shot a video and people were pop locking in their video, like, you know, like they go to Japan and hip hop is all right. I think as long as everyone stays true to what they do and do it in a signature way, I think everything will be straight. But the only issue is when the media only just gives us one side, and there's this whole friggin' rainbow of different kinds of hip hop, you know. Like it's like when people that don't listen to hip hop, when you tell them about rap, they immediately think like guns, drugs, and sex, and it's just like, oh hell no. But yeah, it's that too. You know, like to quote Andre 3000, there's so many other things. When I think of like, there's like nerdcore rap. You know, it's like people rapping about like RPG video games and anime, which is bugged out, you know, just to think that there's so many different kinds. Then there's of course people just rapping solely about selling drugs. I mean, it's the same in any genre. There's hardcore metal, and then there's like you know, soft metal, like easy listening. No, there's no such thing as soft metal, is there? No, but soft rock. There's like soft rock, and then there's hard rock. You know, it's like the same as any genre. Right? There's different ends of the spectrum. So hip hop is alright, man. Hip hop is fantastic. It has a long future. It's not gonna go the same way disco went, you know, because it keeps evolving. You listen to what's popping now. It's not what was popping 10 years ago. It changed. They had an electro phase, and it had a different. Like, I mean, like it's constantly evolving art form. So it always finds a way to refresh itself. Well, because the media is taking such a targeted approach, and trust me when I tell you, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but there's definitely an agenda to mainstream media giving you only one type of music. There's a definitive. If it's not selling you something, it's curving your mind to think a certain way. There's a reason that you only see one type of rapper and one type of video and one type of girl in video. That's all programming, you know. But here's where the fans and artists are taking back power. We live in a very do-it-yourself culture. We live in a ginormous do-it-yourself culture where we have the World Wide Web, meaning worldwide, and we share. We create and we share. This is a two-edged sword because some people that are not creators have access to create things, and sometimes they're terrible, and millions of people may grab hold of it and think it's good. So it's a two-edged sword. But in that same vein, there are people who make amazing things, who are amazing and creative, and mass populace gets to see it. You know what I mean? So it's sort of we have the option. We have options now. There are websites, there are blogs that cater toward very specific genres or subgenres or categories of not just rap music, just music in general. So it's kind of like you can go specifically and get what you want on the World Wide Web throughout the world. You know, so I think that's a way that, especially this younger generation that is way smarter than my generation and has access to way more technology and information, that's the way that they're taking control of what they want, and they're sort of dictating what's hot in a way. And you can see it by these trends of kids. You know, you think of the kids. You got to think ultimately of the younger generation. They have access to 5D and 7D cameras that they save up 2 summers to get, shoot their own videos, upload them to YouTube, and get thousands of hits. You know, like they learn a program while they're in school, edited the video themselves, or they have a friend that edits the video. They have another friend that made the beat on a program on their laptop, and so now you have 5 kids with 5 laptops. One of them is recording him in Pro Tools, the other one's making the beat in Fruity Loops, the other one's shooting the video on his camera, and the other one's editing it. You have 5 kids making a movement, and they all found a way to brand it. You know, I have one kid that knows how to work Photoshop or Illustrator, and he's coming up with their t-shirts, and he's coming up with their logos, and now they have a movement, and there's 5 or 6 of them, and people love a movement, and they're following them, and they're gaining fans. You know what I mean? So it's a way, we live in this do-it-yourself society where kids have access to so much more than my generation did. You know, so that's a way that people are taking it back from mass media, and they're sort of flipping it on its ear because people like YouTube and Google are seeing that, and they're trying to figure out a way to monetize off that. All these kids are getting 1 million views. How can we make $1 off each of those views? You know what I mean? So it's really interesting to see it, and I guarantee you in 5-10 years maybe Google will have a record label, or YouTube may have some sort of channel. You know what I mean? You don't be surprised if you see it happening. That's a way that everyone across the globe who has access to the internet, the World Wide Web, is sort of taking power back into their own hands and making things happen, for themselves against giant mass controlled media. I mean, the impact that I'm striving to have through my music, ultimately, I feel is, I feel like in this universe, we as individuals are as signature as a thumbprint. Each one of us, you know what I mean? Like there's only one me, and there's only one you, and there's only one you, like there's only one of you, and if you stay as true to yourself as possible, it'll be damn near impossible to duplicate. Sure, there'll be people who will try to copy you if you're really popular, but if you stay true to who you are, you won't have to try to copy someone because they're popular. You mean? If everyone stays really true to who they are, and the way I see there being an impact with my music and what I'm doing is I'm going to be as me as possible. I'm going to be the most fresh daily that is the fresh dailiest of fresh dailies, and do things in a vein and carve a niche that only I can kind of carve in. And the more I do that, the more I've make and follow my own trail that I've carved, I feel like you won't be able to get it anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like you go to a Jay-Z concert to see Jay-Z, not to see Busta Rhymes. If Jay-Z started doing Busta Rhymes material, you'd be like, oh, he's copying Busta Rhymes. So you know what I mean? Like it's sort of chiseling away and making a very signature lane for yourself. And I always say this, like, I make music for me, and if other people happen to like it, that's amazing, because at the end of the day, I have to like it. I have to want to listen to my own shit more than anyone else. Like I have to be able to go to sleep and say, all right, that was hot, you did it, that was dope. You know what I mean? Because I can't, if I made something that was awful, like I wouldn't like it. I'd feel shitty about putting it out. So I think that quality control in your own head of saying something is good and being able to take constructive criticism as well. Because I could be like, this is hot, and it could be complete shit. But if I'm at least open enough to listen to my peers, people who I respect, and say, oh, that was dope, you could have tweaked it like this. I mean, I think that's what makes really good music, and I plan on continuing to make really good music the way only I know how to. So I think people will gravitate to that. People will gravitate to that, and they'll want fresh daily. Where they might want to hear something else, they'll go and hear that. But when someone wants to hear a fresh daily track, they're not going to go listen to someone else. They're going to listen to fresh daily. So that's the way I see myself fitting in. Or standing out, as the case may be, or in this grand scheme of making music and being visible and commercially viable You know what I mean? So I'm pleased to say I think my style is signature enough that I'll be alright, and it's good enough.
When the sun is out, tell me everything you think before I ask around. My lifestyle is so fresh daily, double entendre. You dress maybe, that's so, that's okay, that's no way. Like Jose.